Hello, babies.
All right, Bill, why don't we get started? You and I tonight on the show, the Simple Minds Sports Show. Ray is taking a sick day. I guess a valid sick day. It's like twice
Anytime it's
removed.
COVID related in the family. I mean,
Yeah.
he doesn't have it. He's just tired.
Yeah, he's just tired. Look, Ray doesn't have a life, so if this is occupying a lot of his time and energy just dealing with COVID, then let him have the sick day. Just get his mind off of it. That's fine, no problem. But you and I will do some opening takes. We'll do some Patriots talk, some Celtics talk, and some Bruins talk. All in the news lately. I'll throw it over to you for an opening take if you want to start the show off.
Well, Thursday. It is Thursday as we record this right now. Return of one Tuukka Rask in net right now. Before I came upstairs to start recording, it was 2-0 Bruins. Two David Pastrnak goals pretty quickly in the first period. But for me, I just have this feeling that Bergey's done after this year. Patrice Bergeron, they kind of alluded to a little bit on the radio this morning that, they had some kind of a little pact. They might go out together. I really think that he's done. He hasn't negotiated any contracts, and it kind of changed my outlook on the season a little bit. I want them to go all out at this point. I know we're going to kind of discuss the Bruins a little bit in their plan that we think they should do, but this year, go all out, try to win it. If Bergey's going to go out, I mean, he's been one of the Bruins great, at least try to win another cup for him. And the way they're playing right now and the way they're scoring fucking goals right now, the Stanley Cup, I'm not saying they're a Stanley Cup caliber team, but Tampa's down this year. The Montreal Canadiens are the worst team in the league. So, I mean, realistically, the Bruins, they get in the playoffs, anything can happen, but, try to go all out. You don't have a lot of trade, but at least try to go all out and then reset next year and start your rebuild after that.
Yeah, it is the NHL. You get in, anything could happen. We saw it happen with the Blues Stanley Cup. That path was laid out for the Bruins, and they, Tuukka Rask blew it. But
Bruins in 2011, look at that path.
Yeah,
you 7 games against Tampa and the Canadiens. You swept the Flyers, and 7 games against the fucking Canucks. You had no business winning that series. The Canucks were the best team in hockey that year from start to finish.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it. Certainly, there's definitely some holes to fill, and that would be a stretch for the Bruins to pull that off. But I think I'm with you there. And Tuukka kind of alluded to it in a lot of his comments, too, in terms of the gang getting back together for one last run of it. I'll go with the Celtics. Celtics are back to 500 and playing better basketball. I say that with, a lot of salt, because what's the saying? I don't know what the fucking saying is. Grain of salt, because it could come and it could go at any point in time with this team, but they have just strung together, I'd say, a week and a half of decent games. You got 2 back-to-backs against Indiana. When Jaylen and Jayson are clicking at the same time, that's a tough team to beat. They still have stretches of infuriating basketball to watch, but they were in command of that Indiana game last night, Wednesday, pretty much soup to nuts. And now they're back to 500. And if you're a 500 team at the trade deadline in the NBA, you're in decent shape if you can keep your shit going and stay healthy. So we'll see if the Celtics can do that. We got a little more on that in the show, obviously. And I'll take Ray's thought, seeing as it is football season and it is the playoffs. We got touch on the Patriots. That'll be our first topic today. Let's see what Ray's opening take would be from the Patriots. It's going to be cold, and Mac Jones is going to out there, and
Patriots are going to roll, man.
Josh Allen's a fucking pussy because his toes get cold, and
Brad Dayball's fat.
Giselle's a bitch.
Looks like a man.
Welcome to the Simple Minds Sports Show. Friday headlines, January 14th. Welcome to the show. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, rate, review. If you're listening on the podcast, do the same. And whatever you do, tell your friends, share it amongst the masses. Of course, we're brought to you by White Birch Brewing, the best craft brewing in New Hampshire. National New Hampshire Brewery Bill address, please. That one's spelled out.
Yeah, it did. It's just flowing.
Yeah, man. What's the fucking address?
I'd said it, 460 Amherst Street.
There you go. The good side of Amherst Street.
Good side.
Get on down to the brewery. Get on down. Get yourself a flight, a pint. If you can't get to the brewery, get it at your local beer store, wherever you get it. Tell them the Simple Minds boys sent you.
Sounds like they got a good release coming out too. A pineapple blueberry beer. It's purple, 5.5%. Should be released later on this week, I believe. Yeah, I just started. No,
Sounds
it looks like a sour. Truthfully, it doesn't look like a stout because it's purple. They just posted on their
I could get down with
Instagram or
maybe
something,
if
yeah.
a nice dark sour this time of year. That'd be good too. They do good sours. They do good stouts. They do everything good.
You know how I feel about sours.
Well, that's just because you are sour. It's conflicting. You can't put too much of that one
Too
thing
much
in one
sour
body.
in there, yeah.
Bill, if Patriots go into Buffalo Saturday nights, everyone's making a big deal of the weather because of the last time they played in Buffalo. I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. I don't think
It's gonna be cold.
It's going to be cold. You sent the article out to the text chain. Josh Allen has bad circulation to his feet, so his toes get cold. And I guess I will say this. There's been a lot of talk about the temperature up in Buffalo out of those Buffalo players, specifically Josh Allen. If they all take Bart Scott's advice and pop a couple Viagras, apparently that's supposed to help. I didn't dive deep into the explanation from Bart Scott on that one. I just thought it's a funny headline. But I'm not too concerned about it. What I am concerned about is if the Patriots play as close to an airtight game as they can, limit the miscues, limit the mistakes, control their game. I think you agree they have a chance to win. I think we all do. But do you agree with me that it's going to be a close? Like the Patriots are not winning this game no matter what, by more than 4 points.
Yeah, I agree. Field goal, 4-point game, something like that. I mean, you've seen over this 1-3 stretch, third year in a row they finished 1-3, by the way. But you've kind of seen it. You know, they need to play a picture perfect game, right? Indy, you blocked the punt, you went down 14-0 early. Buffalo last week against Miami, same thing. Opening drive touchdown, pick 6, went down early. Buffalo, the same thing. I mean, miscues, turnovers, like these are the things, stupid penalties, like those are the things you can't have in this game because Buffalo, I think on paper is a more skilled team. They have more talent overall from top to bottom. And that includes you have a quarterback advantage. Say what you want about Josh Allen, but I mean, he played awesome against the Patriots in Gillette 4 weeks ago. So, I mean, that's a huge thing. And like I said, I think the disrespect they felt coming out, you know, I expect Buffalo to be firing, and that's, you know, the motion's got to be in check, the discipline for the Patriots. If they don't play a picture perfect game, they're not going to win. You know, the margin of error is too small for them. Super small.
The margin of error is little to none, and their talent, it just barely matches it on a good day. So yeah, you know, they're certainly playing on a razor here. And obviously, if you look ahead, they don't have enough to go 3 games on the road and have success. But you go up in Buffalo, maybe you can get by 1. A division rival team for the 3rd time. I like Belichick in that situation. Let's go over a couple of pros for the Patriots in this game. We ran through some statistics today. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the email, but Rain Man should be popping one under that table there because I was throwing some numbers at you.
Don't need to just get hard on numbers.
The Patriots run game in the first meeting, infamously had 46 carries, 222 yards, 6 in that big breakaway from Harris, the 64-yard touchdown in the first quarter there. In the second meeting, 27 attempts, 149 yards, 5.5 yards per carry. Both of those are with the Bills absolutely selling out on the defense, which is technically supposed to be the strength of their defense. Yep. Their defensive line. The Bills rank 11th in defensive, basically efficiency. They've given up 12 runs of 20 or more in the regular season. And that's the 9th most overall in the NFL. I look at that, and if the Patriots don't fuck up and get a blocked punt and get down by 14 early, that's the way they want to play. And we saw it in both games. They can get, Josh McDaniels can break one outside. They like that crackback type of running if they're shoving, if they're blocking inside the Bills defense. Is that a strategy for the Patriots if they can keep it close and maintain a 5.5 yards per carry against this Bills defense?
You got to, because that means you're keeping Josh Allen and the Buffalo offense off the field. I mean, you look at Stephon Diggs has owned J.C. Jackson in his Buffalo career. I mean, that's a big disadvantage. The longer you can keep them off the field, the better. I mean, the Patriots have to run the ball. That's been their bread and butter all year. And it starts with the offensive line. Isaiah Wynn hasn't practiced all week. Final injury reports come out. He's still questionable. I don't think he's going to play. You don't see good track record. A guy sitting out all week and not playing. Say what you want about Isaiah Wynn. He hasn't been super awesome this year, but he's been a pretty solid run run blocker for this team. And, you saw what Awinwa did last week, or Winu, sorry, did last. Winu. You said it, dude. You said it. You did.
I know. I've been doing it now all season too. After you started with that fucking Anenwa shit. A Winu.
So now you see a Winu like bouncing off the left tackle. He did not look good against Miami. So, I mean, that's something to worry about there, protecting Mac's blind side. And Isaiah Wynn's had his troubles this year, but he's been a pretty solid left tackle for them since, when healthy. And that's it feels like
they straightened it out after that first month of the season, where, if you remember, Mac was getting absolutely annihilated. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of rumors he's hurt. I think wrist, shoulder, and knee injuries is what they were alluding to this morning. And I mean, he played 10 games last year in Alabama, and now he's on 17 going on 18 games. And again, you just alluded to, he got murdered in the regular season.
There was a point, I think it was even before the Colts game, where Max some of his throws were getting airmailed. And I think we touched on the show that maybe he's dealing with something, because his accuracy to start the year, was in the mid 70s, even when they were letting him throw a little bit more, 20 attempts per game. And that hasn't really gone away. He's still pretty accurate, but he's in the low 60s the last month of the season. Obviously better competition in the Jaguars game. He lit it up, but I wouldn't doubt it. Fucking doughboy. The guy's never seen an ab in his life, and he's getting fucking door rocked.
Well, you see he's airmailing him because he's flat-footed a lot, and he's rushing his throws. And I think there's a lot, because I don't know, he's not afraid to get hit, but those hits have taken a pretty big toll on him this year. And I just think you alluded to, and that was the biggest thing. Can his body survive a rigorous NFL season? And right now, no. I mean, he's played every game.
Well, he's playing, man. I mean, I think that's his biggest attribute is his toughness. Like, that was probably the last thing people thought about Mac Jones coming out of college is, this kid's tough, but you got to look at him and give him an A+ in that category for this season. The beating that he's took, a lot of it on his own. A rookie is going to take hits because they don't know how to get hit in the NFL, and they can't just, identify blitzes as well at this point in their career. So they're going to take hits, and they're 22. How old's Mac? 23, 24?
23. And don't forget Brady.
So they got a young body.
4 or 5 years. I remember it was
Brady used to get fucking rocked.
03 in Buffalo, the overtime game. He was running up the sideline. I forget, was it Spikes or someone took his fucking head off on the sideline, knocked his helmet off, picks it up, gets right out. They won the game anyways, but still, it's like, dude, the early in his career, he was getting rocked. Yeah. Now he kind of got better as he got older and learned about his body and his pliability.
Oh, God damn it. Go buy a fucking $100 sweatshirt if you want to talk about Brady. Let's stick with some, if people don't know, Brady has released his own fucking athletic apparel brand or whatever. I didn't even look what
the
you
Brady
said.
brand.
Made me mad. It's just brand. T-shirts that say Brady, and you got to spend $100 on them. So
ridiculous.
100% cotton. No, 90% cotton, 10% polyester.
It's not even a logo. It literally Brady. The Brady brand. Fuck out of here.
What a prick. What an absolute prick. I put this under Patriots pros too, because this has been the best part of the defense all season, is their pass defense, even though it hasn't looked like that recently. But if you go back, I mean, the defense has been good outside of the last few weeks. I mean, they have not given up a lot of points this season. And in that 7-game win streak, they were holding teams under 18, 19 points on average. But I think that it starts up front, and we haven't seen the same pressure from certainly Judon, but also Barmore hasn't been the same in the last few weeks. He's hurt, as we know.
Sounds like he's going to play.
What's his practice? I thought that people were saying he looked okay this week.
Yeah, he's questionable, but he returned to practice. I think he practiced 2 out of the 3 days, 2 out of 2 days, and Tuesday they didn't practice. They released a report, and he was questionable on that too, or limited. So he might play.
Yeah, I thought I've been hearing good things out of there, so I expect him to play. But get back to the Patriots pass defense. If you get pressure on them, that second game, they really laid back on Josh Allen and made him drive the field and expected him to make mistakes. And Josh Allen had one of the best games of his career, even though he shouldn't have. He should have had 2 picks to J.C. Jackson. But I don't expect the Patriots to do that this game. I don't anticipate seeing, a ton of, all out blitzes, but I expect them to switch up their rushes, get some stunts going, maintain the contain in Josh Allen in the post. But
yeah, you got to contain him in the pocket. That's the biggest thing with Allen.
but I don't expect to see, just 4-man straight rushes or 3-man, rushes and dropping back. They got to get pressure on him. I think that's when he tends to make mistakes, is when he's got a guy in his face. And we saw it. The Patriots defense didn't capitalize on it. And that's also a key. If he throws you the ball in your hands, JC Jackson, catch it. And then run.
You can't call yourself Mr. INT if you're dropping balls in your hand. Sorry. You can't.
That's what Irene calls me.
Hey, lame Irene jokes.
Sorry.
Show notes.
Here's some statistics for you in terms of man versus zone for Josh Allen. The Patriots versus Josh Allen playing man coverage. Josh Allen was actually worse, surprisingly. He was 13 for 25, 52% completion percentage, 134 yards. But he also had 10 passing first downs and 2 rushing first downs. I think that's where he absolutely killed you in that second game, 16 game of the season.
What do you have, 55 yards rushing?
I think he had more than that, didn't he? I think it was 60, 64, I thought.
Either way,
something
close
like
enough.
That. But those 2 rushing first downs, you remember them specifically. They were
one was a third down. And just Oh yeah. I mean, it was like the precursor to Tua's run last week on third down.
The one that I remember, I think it was the last one. But either way, Judon just rushed way too far up the field and just gave him that 26-yard run into the red zone.
Yep.
That really sealed the game. Against the zone, though, Josh Allen, 16 of 20, 80% passing and 173 yards. So I don't know. I always thought that playing zone, when they got beat, when Isaiah McKenzie was running across the field and catching balls, it seemed like every fucking time they threw it, I was yelling at the screen, "Why are you playing man? Why are you playing man? Why are you playing man?" The statistics tell us that they're better in man against Josh Allen. And the article I got this from NBC Sports, basically Josh Allen just made the play. Those Isaiah McKenzie throws, if you go back and look, were fucking dimes under pressure on the run. Josh Allen just had a fucking awesome game. So I think the Patriots stick to a similar game plan, just bring a little bit more pressure, and hopefully their pass defense can come up and get some deflections and some third down stops. Yeah,
but you alluded to it. It all revolves around containing Allen in the pocket. I think Zoe alluded to it today on the radio. He's not planning to wear sleeves. He thinks that's a precursor for him to run a lot. He can feel the ball in his arms more. It scares me because his legs are dangerous. He's the only real running threat that Buffalo has. And the Patriots have always struggled with mobile quarterbacks going back years with Belichick's defense. And it goes back to containing the edges. You saw Judon, I think it was the third or fourth down that led to the 26-yard rush, but he was behind Josh Allen and Allen just took off. Yeah. Like you can't have that, and he needs to step up. I think it all starts with the pass rush, not whether you're playing zone or you're playing man to man. It all starts with getting after the quarterback. You saw it in the first game where you put a lot of pressure on Josh Allen. I know the wind conditions were a problem, but it all started because you were consistently getting home with rushing Judon and Barmore, right? And those guys have kind of disappeared in the last 4 games. So hopefully that will come back, and they're all beat up. I know COVID with Judon, and he's definitely got hurt in the second game. He's kind of gutting it through, but I mean, this is a big problem that they've had going back 15 years is mobile quarterbacks. So, I mean, I think it starts more containing him in the pocket, 4 or 5 guys kind of around the line of scrimmage. Don't get behind them, keep them in front of you. And that's how you're going to contain them. I don't think it matters really with the man rush, the man or the zone. It all starts with the front 7.
Would you, and I've heard this from a couple of places, would you think about not necessarily sitting Hightower and Bentley, but using them less, certainly in passing downs, and putting Duggar and Adrian Phillips in those linebacking roles like we saw last year? For most of last year, they played, those linebacking positions and really just selling out in the pass. The Buffalo run offense, their run game has been trash all season. Now, Singletary kind of beat you up a little bit, but that's certainly not what beat you in the game. Josh Allen beat you. So, with everything that we're talking about, I don't know. I think I would like to see a little less Dante Hightower in this game, a little less Jawan Bentley, unless they're rushing the passer, unless they're in there to get after Josh Allen at the line of scrimmage. I don't need those guys in a soft zone in the middle of the field. It just seems like they're constantly getting burned. Give me Duggar, give me Adrian Phillips, give me fucking Joe Juwan Williams in that position to give me a little speed. And maybe I went too far with Joe Juwan Williams.
Yeah, you did way too far. I mean, he doesn't deserve this. The problem with that, and I think I heard the same thing this morning. The problem with that is Duggar hasn't practiced all week, and he missed last week's game, so he's also battling injuries. So I mean, you're kind of sun out, but you're gonna have to play, 5, 6, 7 DBs if you're playing Adrian Phillips and Duggar in the box, because you're still gonna need to protect the pass in the back. So I mean, you're taking the size off the field, but I mean, to slow down Allen, that might have to be the way to go. I think Adrian Phillips is better as an in the box safety. You saw a lot of it with Pat Chung in the last couple of years, and Adrian Phillips has really filled that gap tremendously. Deserved the extension he just signed. So I mean, you got to do something. Have him play that linebacker role. I mean, they're gonna spread you out. That's exactly what they're going to do. Dawson Knox is there. I mean, Diggs, Beasley, I think, is coming back healthy, and Isaiah McKenzie just murdered you.
Yeah.
I mean, we thought losing Beasley was a bigger disadvantage for Buffalo, and Isaiah McKenzie had 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I mean, he picked up a role perfectly. So
I tend to think Beasley probably just would have scorched you just as much, but
I think so too.
Do we know what the deal is with Jaylen Mills, who got on the COVID list this week as well?
No, I don't know, but the new protocol, I mean, you could come off a lot quicker. So
you can come off with 2 negative tests, but again, practicing.
One negative test, one rapid test, and one PCR test within 24 hours, not 48. So
we saw it with Damian Harris. We saw it with Matthew Judon. We've seen it with a lot of guys that have missed time, not practiced during the week. Their playing time during the game really gets limited. So
yeah.
I don't know if they can afford to do that with Jaylen Mills if he comes back. I mean, their secondary is so thin, but
Miles Bryant came back, but he got torched all game by Isaiah McKenzie. So, I mean, it's
don't say that too loud, Ray Hogan, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of cons, just real quickly, I wanted to touch on this because the Patriots cons or the negatives for them. I go to the offensive side of the ball, and we've been harping on this kind of all year, but I don't think we've ever really hit it on the nose. They just don't have anybody that can make a play on offense. Nobody. And obviously, I'm more talking in as pass catchers. I think their running backs are good for what they do, and Mac Jones is what he is. But in terms of pass catchers, they have nobody who can make a fucking play. Here's the statistics for you. Let's see. Shit. Sorry, I lost it. Go ahead. Let me see if I can find it.
No, they don't. I mean, as much as I like, Kendrick Bourne and Hunter Henry, I mean, they're not guys that when it comes to crunch time, you're going to go to. I mean, you look at your leading receiver was Jacoby Myers at 83 catches, which I didn't think he got that many for like 860 yards. I mean, that's your leading wide receiver right there at 83 catches. I mean, even him, like you think your number one leading receiver is going to be a kind of a playmaker, and he's not. He's your zone threat. He's your check down guy. I mean, he spreads the field a little bit, but he's not going deep. He's not
a guy on 3rd and 7. I go, watch out for Jacoby Myers.
Right.
It's like,
I mean, he's not like that's Julian Edelman, Wes Welker territory, right. Danny Amendola in those years with Brady.
It's an unexpected time in the game where you see him come up with a nice catch for 16 yards or something, right? It's like on 3rd and 7, where are they going? I have no fucking idea. I just hope they get it. Like Brandon Bolden screen pass. Hopefully it works. That's kind of what you're looking at. The statistics I had, I think, kind of which spell this out. The Bills are on defense mainly play zone. They've played about 35% zone this season. Against the Patriots, they've gone to 65% in that first game and 47% in the second game, which just tells me they don't have any faith or they have more faith in their bad secondary that they can stop those Patriots pass catchers and sell out on the run than they do against any other team in the league. And rightfully so, because Mac Jones led the league this year with a league high 7 interceptions against man coverage. So the stars are not aligning for the Patriots offense when it comes to Saturday night.
Not at all. And that's that's kind of a big issue. And you heard it come out of the Hard Knocks with the Colts You heard it all week. They were trying to make Mac beat him. Mac beat him. They didn't respect him at all. They sold out against the run, and Mac couldn't do it. I mean, that's the way to do it. You shut down the running game, and I've said it all year. The biggest thing that worries me with Patriots is their front runners, right? So if things don't go swimmingly for them right away, and you get down by 2 scores, we've seen Mac. I think he's had 1 game-winning drive, maybe in the 10 wins that he's had this year, and he's had opportunities. He has multiple opportunities to really take advantage of it, and he hasn't done it yet. And it's tough, and you got to hope that he could do something. But the man coverage, Buffalo has no faith in Mac Jones, and why would you? He threw 3 fucking times and up there in Buffalo again, and I would do the same thing. I'd put 9 guys in the box and say, beat me. I'm not even
He's
kidding.
going to have opportunities. In this article I read on NBC Sports, they showcased how many guys were open on that second level, and either Mac just missed them, or the guys dropped it, or they couldn't get themselves open. When you sell out that hard on the run, you're going to leave something open in the NFL. It's up to the Patriots to capitalize on that. I'm with you. We haven't seen it all season. There's no reason to think that they're going to do it this game. If you want the Patriots to win, they have to win like they've won all season long. Control the ball, get an early lead, win by a field goal, make your defense make stop, and defense get a turnover. They're second in the league second in the league at 65% of the drives that Patriots defense faced, they caused a turnover. So I gave you a lot of statistics here in this Patriots segment, Bill.
Yeah,
if you need a second, if you need a minute to find the bathroom, fair enough.
Change my pants.
But in those Bills games, correct me if I'm wrong, did they turn Josh Allen over at all in the 2 games this year? I don't think
so.
I
don't think he threw because he threw 150 yards the first game, no interceptions. I don't think they had any fumbles. No, I don't think so.
But they certainly had opportunities. Even in that first game with the win, he was sailing some balls, and obviously we showcased it in the second game, the J.C. Jackson fumbles. So, they're gonna have to play all the way back, circle it all the way back to the start of the segment. They're gonna have to play their perfect game to win. That's going to be the case moving forward against anybody. Against teams like the Chiefs, they probably still won't win, but I think against the Bills they can. I think that they have the opportunity to go up there and win this. So I'll throw it to you. Give me your prediction. What do you see coming?
You want to score? I got Buffalo. Honestly, I think I got Buffalo by a field goal. I'll probably 21-17. So I'll say 4.
Yeah, I don't know how to predict it. I think that the Patriots win 21-17 or the Bills win 31-24 or something. Not even 31-17. I think the Patriots win real close, so the Bills run away with it. That's kind of I don't think the Patriots lose unless they get a late touchdown or something, and it's not really a close game. I can either see the Patriots keeping it close and pulling it out, or the Bills taking it and running away with it. That's kind of where I see this going.
I can see a repeat of game number 2 with them. You had it close late, and then Allen kind of put a drive together and iced the game. Same thing that happened with the Colts. Like it just has that feeling, and you should have zero confidence going 1-3 to finish in your last 4 and entering the playoffs. Like, because the expectations got to be low for this team.
So what we're saying is, if they win, it's all gravy, baby. Walk into this, no pressure, no stress. Just they're expecting to lose. If they win, on to the next one. Crack a beer.
Hallelujah.
Happy beers, baby. All right. Speaking of happy beers, get over to backtobasicsllc.com. Get your personal email from Dr. Tom, the CBD guru out of Rhode Island. He'll send you a personal email to set up your CBD remedy, whatever you're looking for, whatever you need, whether it be a shitty shoulder, you got a barking dog, you want to sleep better. This is the guy for you. Go to backtobasicsllc.com. You get a free sample with every order that you make. It's an absolute no-brainer. If you're still looking for one of those medical marijuana cards, this is also the place you want to go. Nothing needed. Just go in there. He'll help you out. He'll put you in the right position to get one of those. Go to backtobasicsllc.com. We're running late, so we don't have to touch on that. We don't have to spend too much time on this, but it was just too good not to. The Brian Flores debacle that you've been chronicling in our text chain today is amazing. So I'll just kind of throw it to you and just give us the highlights on that.
All right. So the first one was after they drafted Tua in 2022, he had the team PET test Tua 4 times throughout from March or the draft until July because he didn't believe Tua's body transformation was real. So that was one. I believe throughout the whole season this this season, he kept telling Tua he wished they drafted Mac Jones instead of him. So, I mean, there's a lot of underlying stuff, and you're kind of hearing why Brian Flores may have got fired. I mean, you and I had some good conversations. Ray was kind of being, Ray about it. But the fact that, the short change in the minority coaches in the league, Brian Flores was 24-25 in 3 years, he won 10 games last year, competed for a playoff spot the last 2 years. And for him to get fired over something like that, I mean, I get you want to take your franchise quarterback, but I thought Brian Flores did a pretty damn good job in Miami, considering the dumpster fire organization that is. And I just think he got the raw end of the deal and getting fired. And I think the league feels the same way. He was the biggest shock of getting fired on Monday. So it's a joke.
It almost now it almost goes to, was he trying to get fired? Was he trying to get himself out of there? Like, you're that shitty towards your starting quarterback, that starts to move up the chain. But I understand a franchise picking their franchise quarterback over a coach. That's more important. I think we've learned that here in New England. But Tua's not that guy. Tua's not that guy. Tua sucks.
I don't think so either.
I mean, okay, Tua doesn't suck, but he's middle of the pack at best. He's bottom third, top of the bottom third.
You take Tua or Mac Jones right now.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, me too.
Right. I mean, they were scared to death to let that guy throw at the end of the season. He's a mistake waiting to happen. So, I mean, the Alabama wide receivers candidly picked Mac Jones over Tua Tagovailoa, and they both won championships.
Mm-hmm.
So just making him drug test 4 times because he didn't think his body like that.
Dude, I love it.
That's just funny shit. That's just funny shit. All right. Well, we're gonna get into some Celtics and Bruins talk to end the show. But before we do that, I'm gonna throw it over to headlines with the Queen. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. So the little ball of hate, Brad Marchand had a quick hat trick last night, and the Canadians had it by the second period as they beat the Canadians 5-1. Curtis Lazar had the other 2 goals last night. Tonight, as we record this right now, Tuukka Rask makes his return against Philadelphia, and again, at the time of this recording, it was 2-0. Glorious to have Tuukka back in net for the Bruins, says Ray Stradamus. The Celtics pull back to 500 with a 119-100 win over the Pacers. Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum both score over 20 in the second win in a row against Indiana. I believe they combined for 65 total points. Celtics next tape on the 76ers and the Bulls this weekend. Saturday night, we see the rubber match between the Patriots and Bills. The weather is expected to be below 0, so Josh Allen will be sporting a boner to keep his toes warm per a recommendation from Bart Scott. Labatt Blue, ice, luges, and frozen dildos are expected to be plentiful amongst Bills Mafia for this game. This is the headlines with Queen.
I like that you just bull rushed through it. Did you look into that Bart Scott comment anymore where he told Josh Allen to pop Viagra to stay warm?
I listened to the clip, just like that snippet of it. I mean, the way they found Viagra was it's supposed to be a heart medicine. It was supposed to help regulate the flow of your blood through your body, things like that. Well, everyone came back and said, hey, the side effect was, I got a raging boner for 4 hours. So that's how they discovered Viagra. So, I mean, I guess it could work, but what if you, I mean, what if you're running with a boner? What if you fall and land?
Do you think Josh Allen wears a cup? He must.
I don't think quarterbacks wear a cup. I probably wouldn't.
I know a lot of football players don't.
Which is weird.
A lot of wide receivers don't.
Nuts. I don't.
I never like wearing, like in baseball, I never like wearing a cup, but I generally did because I was afraid.
I stopped wearing it when I stopped being a catcher. So I remember the few times where I forgot mine one day, and Dan Kripe, I'm like, dude, give me your cup. Like, I'm going behind the plate. At this point, I did care. I'm like, that's where I care. But when I'm in the infield or outfield, I didn't give a shit.
Yeah. It's certainly uncomfortable, but yeah, I just don't. How do you go into a game with a raging boner? The camera's on him. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be looking. I'm gonna be looking
straight at his dick the whole game.
Yep. Before we get to that, let's talk a little Celtics. They do beat the Pacers for the second time in a row in 3 nights or whatever it was, 119-100. Like I said off the top, they've been playing good basketball. Tatum and Brown scored for 57 points. I don't know what this sentence is. They each scored over 30. I just copied this from somebody else. Oh, the past 2 games, they've had 137 points between them against the Pacers. So they're both clicking. I had some quotes here from NBC Sports Boston. These are mostly from Jaylen Brown. I'll read them to you and then tell me what you think. Quote, we try not to look at taking turns, more just making the right play and reading the game, because you don't want to get caught up in taking turns and kind of getting stagnant as far as just making the right play. Obviously, that's Jaylen talking about him and Jayson Tatum sharing the ball. He goes on to say, I want Jayson to reach his potential and get everything out of his game, and he wants to get out of it. So to see him going is great. It inspires me just to keep going, getting better, keep improving, keep playing off each other, and making the best that we have. This is the one that stuck out, and I think this is what differentiates Jaylen Brown against Jayson Tatum. He said, after the win, getting to 500, this was his comment, quote, no satisfaction whatsoever, none at all. We're back to 500. We got some tough teams ahead of us. We've been through a lot of adversity this season, and it's time to turn that adversity into positive production. These guys clearly listen to the noise. They clearly have a response to the noise all the time. I generally think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, because remember last year with Perkins and Tatum, we call out Tatum and they had to have a phone conversation because he was disrespected. It's like, shut up.
Tatum got in a Twitter beef with Perkins again just last week.
Yeah.
But I just think this is the new NBA. And if it equates to results on the court, then I don't know. I guess it's okay. I'll just say that I've been watching Jayson Tatum's offensive game since he's been on the Celtics. I said to you guys pretty much from the start, I don't like a lot of his offensive game. He's got a lot of room to improve. That's where #budding superstar came in. I'm going to tell you right now, it's improving. He's better getting to the rim. He's better at finishing at the rim. He's more controlled. He's still not perfect. His passing game is better. He seems like he has a better grasp on the entire game right now. He still lapses into that hero ball shit, which he did in this game for about a half a quarter, which drove me insane. Him and Schroeder went back and forth when Brown was out. But I don't know. They're playing better. I don't know if Udoka's getting to him or if it's just one of these stretches where they're playing better and they'll fall to shit against the good teams, but they've been playing better for the last week and a half or so.
Which is what you want to see. I mean, I think right now, the bottom half of the East is pretty wide open. You're staring at a playoff spot right now. These are your 2 budding superstars. They're your 2 best players. They need to carry you, and they need to be the leaders on the team. We've questioned their leadership for years now, basically since Kyrie left, because those were the 2 alphas, right? So, this is the leadership we needed, and we haven't seen it. So I'm hoping this is good things to come. I just think it's a good stretch. Talk to me if they beat Philly and the Bulls. I think that these are Indiana. They almost blew they almost blew it. I'm surprised they didn't blow it last night after coming up to a big lead. And I believe the first one they went to overtime. So it's still.
You want another statistic?
Yeah, please.
The 3 worst teams in the NBA in the last 5 minutes in terms of basically blowing a lead. The Magic are 1-9 in games decided by less than 5 points. Before that game against the Pacers and Celtics, the Pacers and Celtics were both tied at 2-11 for games decided by 5 points or less.
I just
they
don't
both
think
tried to fucking give it away.
Yeah. They have a problem with playing down to their competition. I don't think they're a 500 team. I think you and I both agree they were a top 4 team in the East going in, top 5 team in the East. They need to start playing up to expectations. There is rumors they're scouring the trade market for bit pieces like the Gerald Green and fucking crap guys like that. But at least I'm hoping they be aggressive and not pass on another trade deadline a la Danny Ainge the last couple of years. So let's see. I want to see an aggressive Brad Stevens, but win a few more games and get some real competition. I think the Sixers are one, and then the Bulls, even without Ben Simmons, they're still one of the better teams in the East. So they need to show it against this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. And Jaylen Brown knows it too. He mentioned that in his comments. Real quick, because we're running late and I want to get to the Bruins, but the Athletic, this is Jared Wise, gave grades for the Celtics. I'm just going to run through the big names here, and you tell me agree or disagree. Start with the coach, Ime Udoka. He gives him a C+.
I go C-.
I agree with you. Jayson Tatum, he goes B-.
I go C+, maybe C.
I go B+ on Tatum. I think his game has been better. I think his game's good. Like
Is this a stretch or the whole season?
This is the whole season.
Yeah,
I go B+ on Tatum because we asked him to be a better passer and a better distributor and a better rebounder and a better defender, and he's been all those things. His team sucks, and he still sucks in the final 5 minutes of games, and that's the next hurdle for him. But I think he made leaps in those other categories, and I don't think he's the reason you're losing games, whereas last year he was. So yeah. I'll give him B+ is maybe strong. I'll give him a B. Give him a B. Rob Williams, B+.
Yeah, I like it. I think he's had a pretty solid season.
Yeah, B+ is good. I might even slip into the A-, but he's missed time per usual,
which is typical.
Marcus Smart, C+.
C-.
Fuck Marcus Smart. Get off the team. Dennis Schroeder, C+.
C-.
Yeah, I'm a C-. He started off good and not great. This guy, as a rookie, I loved him. Last year, he sucked. This year, he's back in my good graces. Grant Williams.
What's his record?
B+.
I'll give him a solid C.
Dude, he has one of the highest three-pointing percentages from a guy in his position in the entire. He's shooting 40% from three,
which is incredible. I hate Grant Williams.
Started his career off 0 for 21. Al Horford, C. I think that's right.
Yeah,
he started off okay. It's fine. And then they have Jaylen Brown at B.
He's missed some time. He's missed a lot of time. I think B to B+ would good. I think he missed 15 games straight at one point. So I mean, I think he's rounding it back into form, but the injury issues are always concerning. So yeah, B+. I'm pretty solid there.
I agree with you. All right, we'll finish the show off talking B's right after this.
Sky rockets in flight. Woo! Afternoon delight. Whoop. You guys have it, I think. Afternoon delight.
I don't know, Ron. That sounds kind of crazy.
Afternoon delight. A little ball of hate. Brad Marchand with the hat trick, 2 goals in 15 seconds. The Canadians fucking suck. I don't know if you saw the clip we posted, but Marchand had the hot mic on TNT.
Yeah, I watched it live.
And Biz is in the fucking studio with his stupid stash, and Marchand just drops the shit right on.
Oh,
you got to be careful when you got a hot mic. You say some shit, and then fuck yeah, you see.
Oh, there it is.
With his Canadian accent, it was perfect.
I love him.
But 2 goals in 15 seconds. Winners of their last 6 or 7. They're up 2-0 on the Flyers right now with Tuukka Rask back in net. They're 8th in points in the East. This might bump them up to close on that, but they got up to 5 games in hand. They got 5 games in hand on Tampa, 3 games in hand on most of them, 2 games in hand on the rest of them. So, like you said in opening, they're in good shape. And here, I'll give you my point. They fucking better be, because they got nowhere to go from here except for the bottom and then back up. So, I mean, you have little to no leeway to make a move at the deadline like you have in the past. This is basically your team, unless you want to get out from under that DeBrusque deal. That's $4 million. Maybe you can bring something back on the defensive core to help you. Like, that's kind of your only piece right now that you can move, unless Allmark is a guy that you can dump and bring Swayman back up. But that's a hard fucking salary to move. He has a no movement clause. My point is, you're stuck if you're the Bruins. So you better hope this team is good enough to make a miraculous run, or at least a deep run. Surprise me and get to the conference finals, and I'll tell you that's a successful season and a nice farewell to Bergie and Tuukka. Other than that, you look at the roster, and outside of their grit and their leadership, they're set up for a first-round loss. But they're a veteran team, so they might surprise us. And if they keep playing like this, and if their offense keeps spreading out from lines 1 to 3, then yeah, they're okay. They'll be all right. And their goaltending has showed up, and hypothetically, you should get better and more consistent with Tuukka back there. So
he's your best option. And as much as I think they'll never win a Stanley Cup with him, but I've always, backed that up with he's been.
You have been consistent. You have said they'll never win a cup, but he is the best option.
Yep, and I've stuck to that. I mean, he can single-handedly steal you a series. He did it 2013 against Pittsburgh. He gave 2 goals in 4 games. Like that's the type of run he can get on. He saw it last year early against Washington. After game 1, he was lights out. I mean, he can do it. I don't expect him to win the cup with Tuukka Rask. You're probably 3 pieces away. I'd like to see a second line center be brought in. I mean, Hala has been well. He's got an assist tonight on a David Pasternak's first goal, but you're still missing a second line center. Your fourth line's playing good with Lazar healthy and Nozick right now. I mean, you got 2 goals out of them last night. So, I mean, you're really, your number one thing is the second line center, and you need to add decor. That's it. That's how you're going to be a championship team. Because right now, the way your offense is rolling, the way you broke up your first and second lines and kind of shuffle those, I mean, you're getting that consistent scoring from 2-3 lines, which we haven't seen in a couple years now. So, I mean,
can I ask you something?
No,
I know. I mean, I've been leading this charge on the second line center, but my thought of it is more towards the future. This year, if you have Taylor Hall and David Pastrnak playing at Taylor Hall level and David Pastrnak level, do you need a second line center? Like, shouldn't those guys elevate Howla or whoever they put there that can keep up with them the same way Marchand and Berger elevating Craig Smith? Isn't that the whole idea of bringing Pastrnak down? I mean, I understand what you're saying, like to win a cup, probably, but I think the idea of having an MVP on that left wing and, the league's top goal scorer last year on the right wing, that centerman, just don't fuck up. Just go in there and play your position. And
I think Hala has been pretty solid. I mean, I think you brought him over from the Predators. He's been a 2-time 20-goal scorer. I mean, he's got 4 on the year, 3 on the year. I mean, he's been solid. You could get around it the way Pastrnak and Hall have, looked in his last 7 games, basically, including tonight. I mean, that line is rolling. There was a problem last year against the Islanders with Hall and Krejci and Smith. They got shut down. The whole first 2 lines got shut down. And this year, moving, your best goal scorer is Hall and Pastrnak. Truthfully, I think the most
been their best line since they've come back from the COVID break. So
yeah, and I just think you're putting a speedster in between 2 other speedsters and Hala at center. And I just like it. Charlie Coyle's not a second line center. He can't produce that way. Maybe he'll produce in the playoffs, but no, it would be nice to add another offensive piece. But your needs are defense, plain and simple. That's where you need to add. I think Tuukka and Allmark's been pretty solid this year. I've actually been coming around on him the last month. I think he's been playing well, including last night against the Canadiens. He only gave up 1 goal. I thought he was solid all night. I mean, he's been solid from Buffalo. I mean, he started shaky, but he's really turned it on. I think your goaltending's, more solid now with Tuukka Rask. Truthfully, I mean, it's going to be weird to see how that's going to shake out. Is Allmark going to be a backup, or are they going to do the, Halak and Tuukka Rask like 50-50 splits? We'll kind of see, but just get in the playoffs. Let's be aggressive at the trade deadline and sell out to win a cup this year, and let Bergeron and Rask ride off into the sunset, and then start your rebuild over.
I'm with you. And the last point I'll make on that goaltending, and this is a long shot, but if Allmark signed to be, come and be basically a starter, and they start giving Tuukka Rask those starts, he might say, hey, I want out of here. See if you can make a deal. And that will make it easier for the Bruins to push him, because he's got that no movement clause. I don't see it happening, frankly. And I don't think they'll use him like that. I think they're going to, move Tuukka along slowly. He just had fucking hip surgery, and we already know the delicate fragility that is Tuukka Rask. So I expect him to be in that Halak role, which, you know what? That's a great role for him in $1 million, but it would have been even better if Swayman was in Allmark's role for $925, I think his salary is. And then you go spend Allmark's $5 million on the defenseman that you're looking for.
Which was what we've been saying. Yep. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, you're playing hot right now. Let's carry it over. Let's get hot. You got no All-Star break or no Olympic break. You're going to kind of cram some games in there, and let's go. Just stay hot now that you're playing a full schedule. You're coming off the COVID. You're getting pretty healthy. I mean, I think what's his what the fuck? Fiora, whatever. I forget his stupid Foligno, that's it. Yeah, he's out. Phalange, yeah, he's out right now. He got sent back to Boston the other night. Sounds like a lower body injury, typical for him. He's been hurt majority of his career.
And he's old, and that I would expect that to kind of continue. Steen has been okay.
I like him. I like Steen. I think he's brought a little bit of spark, especially that fourth line. I mean, he's got 5 or 6, 7 assists since he's came up. I just think, he's too good to play in Providence. I mean, he might not be ready for top 6 minutes right now, but the way he's playing on that third and fourth line, I mean, he's brought stability on that. I mean, that fourth line right now, Nozick, Steen and Lazar has been solid. I've liked Lazar since they got him from Buffalo last year. I thought he's been a nice piece, and he's finally healthy, and you're kind of seeing that, he could put in 10, 12 goals for you on that fourth line, and I think I think Oscar Steen is the same way. I think that whole fourth line is good for 10 or 12 goals out of all of them. So
I like him too, and he's one of the 3 young guys you have on the team. So just a little bit of a building block there. All right. We'll see.
Don Sweeney still, though.
Fire Sweeney. This has been the Zip Line Sports Show, Friday headlines, January 14th. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hope you feel better, Ray.
You too, Ray. I hope your whole family does.
Totally.
I hope you don't have to go out for cigarettes and milk anytime soon. But I do have a flop house for a few more months if you need a place to crash.